Hello, my name is Rose, and I'm going to tell you a personal story that I actually haven't told anyone in over a decade. So, when I was a little girl, I suffered with nightmares since I can first remember my memories. I had the nightmares to where it really affected me to where they actually turn into live boogeymen. And I even named them. 3 of them. And it got to the point to where these 3 boogeymen came upon me to where I had no one else to depend upon, and I just really did not know how to get out of this darkness. Until one day my mom brought me a teddy bear. Rose, this is a teddy bear that I used to have when I was a little girl, when I suffered nightmares just like you. I want you to take this teddy bear, Teddy, to bed, and teddy bear would help you lead the way to the light at the end of the tunnel. So that night, I took the teddy bear to bed. On the first night, I had a nightmare. This is one of many nightmares, as usual. This first nightmare was blue. It was very cold, very dry, but yet very wet. I was very down. My shoulders sagged. I felt more weight upon me. And all of a sudden, I started to cry. Not too far from me was my first boogeyman, sadness. It was made out of slime and goo, but also rust and dust. It groaned and sighed and groaned and moaned because it was always sad, just like me. It slowly slithered towards me, going to reach for me like all the other nightmares. All of a sudden, a ball of light shone right behind me. Next you know, the boogeyman cried out in pain as it slowly melts into a puddle. I looked behind, and there was my teddy bear with a ball of light, warm, comforting, filled with comfort and security. The teddy bear reached out his little paw and said, "There's always light at the end of the tunnel." And for that, I took its paw, and we walked to my first dream of the morning light. On the second night, I had another nightmare. Unlike the one that was blue and sad, I had an eerie, dark one. The hair on the back of my neck sticked up. I had goosebumps and chills. I was shaking and trembling as I felt scared. Not too far from me was my second boogeyman, fear. Its bone was so thin, you can easily snap it if it got touched. His cheeks were soaken and his skin was pale, hardly any hair and wide eyes. It slowly crawled towards me, scratching its long nails, scraping against the floor. Coming closer, and I trembled to the point I grabbed my head and shrunk my body. I was scared. All of a sudden, the light once again came to me from behind. The fear cried out, for it's never seen the light before, so it ran away in fear, with its nails scraping against the floor. Shh, shh, shh. I turned around, and there was my teddy once again. The ball in hand of the warmth, comfort, and security embrace of the light, and reached out his little paw. There was always light at the end of the tunnel. Once again, I took its paw, and we walked to the morning light of my second dream I ever had. On the third and last night of my all nightmares that I ever had, once again, the third boogeyman came. Unlike the other nightmares, that was blue in sadness or eerie and fearful, it was red, blood red. My heart was racing, I was sweating, I was trembling. My mind was at a mile a minute. And I just felt so upset, angered for actually feeling the fear that I had and the sadness I dealt. because I actually just cowered instead of standing up and had the courage to fight them off. Not too far from me was the third boogeyman, anger. Unlike the other two, this one was an animal, a creature from beneath below. His eyes were red, and his teeth was long. Canine fangs came out as it was growling and drooling. It slowly crept towards me. Its black fur moved, for it was only seared hair, for it got burned for its anger. I just felt so enraged that I didn't know what to do. I froze in place. And once again, the light from behind me came. The beast cried out in anger, for it. The light once again came, and it ran away. I turned around, and there was my teddy once again. The ball and light of comfort and security came, with this little paw in hand. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Once again, I took its paw, and we walked to my third dream of the morning light. On the fourth night, there was no more nightmares. It was only about with my dream, with my teddy bear in the morning light, secured, comfort, embrace, warm like amber light. I turned to my teddy bear and asked, "Why do you always say there's always light at the end of the tunnel? Why do you always have this ball of light with you, when all this time I've been shrouded in darkness?" The teddy bear looked to me and said, "You will always have darkness within you, and you can never get rid of it, of course. But if you don't give in to it, don't give up, and push through it with a little ball and light in hand of hope and courage and security to where there is always an end to this darkness, you'll get to the end of the tunnel." The end.